I'm sitting here today with Jonathan Freeman and Marcus Beachy from Premier Sheds and also Champion Metal. We're going to visit a little bit about how they started their business and what they've done to grow their business and how they serve the community. First question I have is tell us a little bit about yourselves. We can start with whoever wants to go first. Maybe you want to, since you were the first one here, Freeman, and talk a little bit about what brought you up here and what got you started in the shed business, as that was the beginning of it all.
Yeah, well, I guess, the question is always what brings people to Iowa. There's not just a lot here.
No.
My grandfather lived here. My dad was born in this area. My dad moved out of this area, and you know how it is when you're growing up, you kind of want to get out of town.
Right.
Everything about your hometown is, that's just not where you want to be. So I decided to move up here with my grandfather, help him out with his lumber yard that he was running at the time. And previously to moving up here, I had been building storage sheds in southern Illinois for 7 years.
Okay.
And so being familiar with the industry, we were attractive to Premier Sheds when they wanted to start a business. They wanted to start here in Iowa. So having an experienced builder right here where they wanted to start their factory was definitely an asset to them. So that's how we got started with Premier Buildings. Kind of, I guess you call it luck, or you call it,
Destiny,
or God Himself just let the right people come together.
A good timing.
Yeah, we got together and started building for Premier Buildings, and we've been doing that ever since.
Okay. And you were the next one that moved here, right?
Well, that's kind of interesting timing too. Right when I moved up, Freeman was looking to build his own shop. I brought a little bit of cash that I had scrounged together, and we went together and built that. And then there was two shops, my grandpa's shop and our shop. And basically I came up in time to help him do that. And then from there, we were looking to expand even further. And that actually was about perfect timing for Jonathan, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how many years it was between when Premier Buildings started and when you moved up here.
Well, Premier Buildings we started building our first building in November of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcus moved up here.
I was in
January?
It was in December of 13, so almost first of 14, basically, when I got started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it 2016 then when I moved up here?
I think so.
Yeah. So came up here in 2016 and just basically started helping them right there in the shop where they were in. But we already had land bought to build a new shop on and everything, and that was all in the works. So we came in here and put up the new facility and formed a three-way partnership there with Beachy Construction, building for Premier Buildings there. And that's kind of what got us together and up here and going this way. So from there, it just, imagination took us from there.
So with the three of you, you obviously have different roles. Talk about those a little bit. Who does what role and how that all fits? Because to me, it's very interesting to see how the three of you can kind of just take certain pieces of it and go with it and how well it fits each of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of that came about just gradually. Growing up together, we were all in a row in the family. We were the youngest three boys in our family, and we grew up together, so we kind of knew each other fairly well. But just kind of found our place, really. When we formed Beachy Construction, we really just kind of found our place in there and just said, hey, what do you really want to do?
Right.
And it kind of fell in place because we each wanted to do something different.
Right.
A different section in the business. I'm a little more in the book side of things. Freeman was very good on sales and that side of things. Well, yeah, he's good at presenting stuff, and then Marcus is energetic and go-getter to get stuff done, produce, and managing the people kind of thing in the shop and get that done. So
I like working with people.
Right.
and
mhm.
Gives you
see
that
what-
opportunity.
See what I can produce out of them.
How you can motivate and
yeah. So
help them accomplish their goals. Tell us a little bit more about the business you're in now, your main business, Champion Metal, and what it is that you guys do. I don't care which one you take that one.
Champion Metal Supply. We roll form steel panels, like steel panels that you would typically use on roofing. Most like pole barns, some house roofs,
Yeah.
siding and that types of things on ag buildings, like siding and roofing for hog barns, pole sheds, just your chicken barns,
Yeah.
all that types of things.
mhm.
We manufacture the panel, and we manufacture trim. We sell screws, closures, all kinds of accessories to go along with that.
Okay.
So that business really fits into the storage shed business simply because every storage shed needs a roof.
Right.
So that's how we got started in that.
Okay.
The storage shed industry was just a nice stepping stone for us to step on up into
What you're
more
doing now.
industry and ways to expand. And so yeah.
Well, you kind of led into the next question was how did the shed business lead you into starting and growing Champion Metal? I don't know if one of you want to expand on that a little bit because it kind of was that natural fit.
Well, I guess from my point of view, like one industry or one opportunity always leads to another one.
Right.
So the more opportunities you have and the more you pursue them, the more opportunities will present themselves. So we saw a need in the storage shed industry for a few improvements that could be made on the roofing side of it.
Okay.
So I guess coming from the construction industry, we saw a few things that could be improved as far as the metal supply.
Right.
And so when this opportunity presented itself to buy out a local roll former,
Right.
we were it was perfect timing because we were looking for some more industry to add to what we've already got going, and we saw a need. So
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question
Yep.
sufficiently.
Well,
or not,
as a
but-
three-way partnership in the storage shed industry, I mean, kind of what in the storage sheds here, we kind of our shop and our area that we're covering, we kind of rolled out about 1,000 sheds a year, and we just that only has a certain amount of income once you
Right,
kind of
right.
level out with the amount of sheds you're at. We kind
Right.
of figured out where we're going to be and said, as a three-way partnership, we can do more than this,
Right.
And so yeah, we're looking for something else right at that time when that opportunity came up, and it just fit very well with what we were already doing. Every
Right.
time we look at an opportunity, we always say, well, is it something that can build on to what we're already doing? Can it make that better, or is it just an entirely different thing?
Right, right.
So
Yeah, I think that's always a huge topic in our discussions. Is it going to fit? Is it not? I mean, is it going to make what we have better in any way, or is it going to just?
Distract from
Yeah.
what you're doing currently.
yeah.
Yeah. Challenges. You guys moved into a new facility here lately, and it's a very nice facility. But what are some of the challenges that you guys ran into, and then maybe also what are the opportunities of moving in there? Obviously, it's going to allow for some growth and things like that. What's some of that look like?
Well, as far as challenges, there was a lot of challenges that disappeared once we did move in there. So, there were where we were was
Right.
it
Small.
was small,
Yeah.
and we were always stacked up to the eyeballs. So, yeah, there was a lot of things that greatly improved.
Okay.
Obviously, just getting everything in there situated, getting used to the facility,
Right.
allowing the facility to make us better at what we do, learning how to fit ourselves into this new facility was a little bit of a challenge, but overall it was a very positive experience. It's been good for our business. It seems like the stress level of having adequate space and having things structured right just went way down. I mean, the stress level went way down for me anyhow.
Yeah.
Right at the
I don't-
start.
I mean, it was stressful to
right
start.
at the start
but-
with was a lot of timing that made that a little bit more stressful, I'd say, was right the week we moved was record weeks for like 3 or 4 weeks straight for Premier Buildings.
Oh,
and
boy.
that caused a lot of
Production
yeah,
issues.
we were having record weeks there back to back, and yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge to get things situated in place and get that production out at the same time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it really forced us to get things situated properly, the way they need to be in the future, a lot quicker than we would have. So it was
Right.
actually kind of a building block there.
Okay.
I give a lot of credit to our crew for that. I mean, they
Yeah,
pitched in and they put in overtime. They made things work that weren't
Yeah.
ideal because not everything was in place and stuff like
Right.
that. As far as the challenges on getting moved into the new facility, that Freeman, you were more involved in getting that shop built and everything, and getting that built in the winter was a little bit of challenge. That was,
Yeah.
there was a lot of mud and stuff going on, and concreting that shop in there after it was built was a very challenge. You know, it was frozen and thawing out, and that was a challenge as far as getting
Yeah.
that building up and getting situated there. But as far as our experience in actually moving in there, everything was positive. You know, that kind of thing. So.
I'd say so.
Future growth with that location. I mean, you've got plenty of room to expand.
Well, it fills up fast.
Yeah.
We do have a lot more capability to expand as far as the metal business.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Growth in that is what we're looking for, and we're trying to make sure that we get our bases covered on a lot of different areas. Make sure the quality is there. Make sure that our crew is experienced and knows what to look for and knows how to do things before we just go hammer down. But I think we've pretty much got that in place, and we're looking to grow. Yeah.
Well, we've talked a little bit about the expansion and moving and things like that, that you guys have moved locations and even starting with the sheds. Obviously, we've talked a couple times you've moved there and expanded that. What motivates you guys to expand and grow, or what keeps you from doing it?
Well, for me, our goals in life is what does that for us.
Okay.
Our goals are very much in tune with each other and with working together that way, and just being able to provide a living for each one of us, provide a product that is beneficial to the local economy,
Right.
the local people here, and you have to grow to a certain point before you're really able to do that.
Right.
You know, as too small an operator, you can't service your customer properly, and you can't provide a very good living for the people that are working there. They can't make a long career out of it because
Right.
you're not big enough to do that. So, I mean, we have to get up to a certain level before we can really get the goals accomplished for everybody, our team, really, and to be able to service our customers properly. So.
Well, one thing that I find that makes it fun for me to see you guys do what you do is I know you guys are strategic in setting goals, and not only just business goals but life goals. When I work with folks, a lot of times I often say you need to begin with the end in mind, and that's kind of what you guys do, and so it helps you chart the course of where you plan to go. Often, I think sometimes 5 and 10 years can pass in life, and we wonder,
Where you went?
where did
Yes.
it go, and what did we do, and was that really what I wanted to do?
No, I guess one thing that question just brought to my mind was one thing you've helped us accomplish, I'd say, was set people in place and structure a business properly to where we can expand. And that's one thing we've really been working on lately is putting people in charge and letting them be in charge to where we can step away and possibly go do something else, possibly expand
Right.
in other areas a lot better, where we can just oversee managers a little bit more rather
Right.
than trying to do it all ourselves.
Yeah, rather than micromanage.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to run the business and not let the business run you.
Right.
What keeps you from growing, expanding? I know you guys are fairly aggressive and ambitious, so I don't see a lot of roadblocks always. But
Usually it's the finances.
Yeah.
No, I
We
mean
usually
there's
figure
limited
out what-
resources. Obviously,
Yeah.
Every new startup business that's usually a
Right,
challenge. You know,
right,
you don't
it
just
is.
have all the money in the world. If you did, why would you be in business?
But
But I think for myself, sometimes it's that uncertainty. Sometimes it's those people in the back of your mind that have always told you, that you shouldn't do this, because what if the economy slumps,
Yeah.
or you should always be safe.
right,
For myself, what keeps me from growing is believing those people rather than believing that,
in yourself, and
I guess,
yeah.
I have the ability. God gave me the ability to
Right.
think clearly and
Right.
make decisions and
Mhm.
and not be afraid of failing.
right,
That's one thing that I struggle with sometimes. Failure isn't always a bad thing.
no,
So if you are so terrified of failing, it'll keep you from doing anything that you would possibly fail at.
right.
So
And fear is not necessarily a bad thing either. It usually
Mhm.
helps us think a little
it,
clearer.
it keeps us logical.
yeah. So
So for me, that's my biggest challenge. Probably my two biggest challenges would be fear and resources.
yeah,
But as I say fear, but I don't really feel like I have a lot of fear.
yeah. I don't see you having a lot either.
But that I would say my two biggest challenges
Yeah.
would be that.
But we
Well,
all-
one challenge I see in growing is we're trying to put people in place to manage stuff, to be responsible for stuff, and you cannot just get a whole crew of people in there in 1 year and
Right,
they are
right.
all experienced, whatever, and are on board. It takes a little bit of turnover, a little bit of time and patience to build a good team, and without a good team, you're not going to get very far.
right,
So we have to build our team up, before we take another step,
well,
So-
and the unique part is that with the three of you, there's three personalities. But then when you bring in a team member that you're going to have lead a department, that personality has to mesh, and they have to understand the
Mhm.
goals and represent your motives and what you're about as well. So,
Right.
how does the competition influence you? And I'm not here to bash them or anything like that. Every business has competitors. A lot of times they make us better. But
Right.
how does
It
that
definitely made
influence?
us better. Obviously, I think competition always makes each other better, and obviously going to serve the community better.
Right.
Our end goal is going to be better.
Yeah.
Competition is definitely good for our customers.
Right.
It makes to where everybody's willing to do business a little bit
At
better.
a higher
So,
level.
yeah, it takes everything to the
Perform
next
at a-
level, really.
Perform
What it
better.
does. So
Well, something that we see really changing in the metal industry is 15 years ago, you go order metal panels, you might see them next week sometime.
Right.
Today, if you go order metal panels, you can pretty well tell the metal roll former company like when you need them.
Right.
And a lot of our customers need them yesterday.
Yeah.
So obviously, the sooner the better. But it's competition.
So you guys
Competition
are,
always makes you more aggressive. And
and you guys are in a position at this point to where you can be pretty fluid with that. I mean, you can produce some metal pretty quickly for somebody.
Mhm. And that's a compliment to our crew there again. I mean, they are
right.
usually
It
right
is.
there whenever we need something extra. A customer calls in at 5 o'clock and they need to pick some panels up the next morning. They'll stay there, get them
Just
rolled
knock
out,
'em
so
right out.
ready to go the next morning, type of thing. So, and we try to stay away from that if we can. Try to have a little more forethought in
Right.
what our customer. We ask our customer to take a little bit more forethought if possible, but we understand the job site too because we've been there.
Right.
Sometimes you don't know what's coming up for sure, so
And
we
something
try to accommodate
changed
that
that
to the
it-
best we can. So.
Something changes that causes that to change, and it's out of their control as well.
Mm-hmm.
Visions for the future. I shouldn't look at him because you scare those two usually.
Well, in our company, we all participate in the vision.
Right. No, I know
But it
that.
seems like I'm always the one coming up with a lot of dumb ideas.
Well, they're not
But,
all dumb. You gotta throw them out there.
We have to just shoot down the bad ones. That's
No, I mean, we come up with more ideas than what we can do.
Right.
Put it that
Oh,
way.
absolutely.
Well, it's just back to what you mentioned earlier. The more opportunities that you take advantage of and do, the more will be presented to you. So
Right.
we're kind of to the point now where we have to decide which ones are a benefit to us and which ones are not, and go with those. And hey, the more opportunities that come our way, the more you have to pick from, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
More selection. So do you
So
have
visions for the future?
Yeah, do you have plans of anything at this point, really?
Well, I
or-
can't tell you everything.
No, I understand that, but I'm just thinking.
Because
I
there's
mean,
still
we're-
plans.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you guys obviously, I would assume, are growth oriented
Yeah.
from what I understand,
Mhm.
from what I know about.
We're
you.
still-
and I think your customers know that, and the general public knows that. So
One thing that we're really focusing on as far as growth in the metal company, not necessarily just entire different businesses or whatever, but as far as growth in the company, we're really focusing on the hog barn industry here in Iowa.
okay,
We are doing a fair amount of that already, but what we're really focusing on is trying to get up a program where our slogan is making metal easy.
right,
So trying to get a program that is good for the hog farmer that's wanting to re-roof his building, for the re-roofing company that sells re-roof projects, for people that putting up new barns, kind of thing. We're really trying to get into that market a little bit more. Where
establish
sell
some
more of that.
programs where it makes the growth.
what we're doing right now is a lot of high amounts of labor input into smaller packages for the storage shed kind
Right.
of thing. The hog barn industry is a little bit more of a larger volume with less overhead, lower margins too,
Yeah.
of course. But it's
But
yeah.
volume.
we're kind of seeing where that would fit. We have a little bit hard time adding just a whole lot more of the shed packages type of industry at this time because of what we're already doing there. So.
Is there anything you guys would like to share as we wrap it up? Like any thoughts you guys have on where you're at, what you're doing, or
Yeah, there's all kinds of thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
I guess just to the Kelowna community, which is kind of Kelowna and Riverside is kind of where we're based out of.
Mhm.
We love the community.
Yeah,
We enjoy being here. I mean, my goal is always that the community benefits from us being here.
right.
We love the people here. There's so much talent in Washington County.
Yep.
Not just Washington County,
Yes,
but obviously
but you-
that's primarily where we
where you're
resource
at.
from. So there's so much talent there. I feel like there's a lot of talent that's even maybe underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that I don't know if there's anything that we like seeing better than for somebody to come into our company and be a part of us and use their talents, use their abilities to grow themselves,
Right.
to make a career out of it.
Right.
I mean, nothing would make me happier than to retire a whole bunch of people millionaires. I mean,
Yes.
obviously. So the Kelowna community in particular has been good for us to be a part
Yes.
of, and
Oh,
and we
absolutely.
appreciate
Thank you.
them, and we really like being here, and we've obviously you're part of the Kelowna community,
Well,
so
right.
we enjoy that too. So
Well, you guys have been obviously provided jobs to the local community, and not just jobs, but obviously as we're talking here, you're talking about careers,
Mhm.
because you want people to retire out of that and retire successfully, and so that speaks a lot about the character of what you three do,
Mhm.
because there's times you run into people in business, they're just trying to figure out how they're building their own retirement and not somebody else's, and you guys, I know, sacrifice what you could make yourself to the level of what you could make today to help set up a good solid foundation for those. So very commendable. It's kind of putting others first, and so that's been really good to see you guys in the local community, and providing jobs for that. As we wrap up today, I enjoy visiting with Freeman, Marcus, and Jonathan at Champion Metal. Stop by their shop between Kelowna and Riverside and visit and see their facility. Patronize them whenever you can. They're great folks providing jobs and support to our local community. we appreciate that very much. Thank you.